Now, last week in 1 Kings chapter 19, we saw the prophet Elijah waiting to die in a cave, thinking he was the last prophet of God. Well, it turns out that God had sequestered thousands of other of his prophets away from the pogrom of Queen Jezebel for safety. So Elijah wasn't the last prophet. He just thought he was, feeling very sorry for himself. Well, today, 4 chapters later, in 2 Kings, bad King Ahab is killed by the Aramean army, and Elijah goes to transfer his prophetic powers to his assistant Elisha. Here's the reading starting 2 Kings 2, verses 1 through 3, then we'll jump to verse 6. Now when the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven by a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were on their way from Gilgal. Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, for the Lord has sent me as far as Bethel." But Elisha said, "As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. The company of prophets who were in Bethel came out to Elisha and said to him, "Do you know that today the Lord will take your master away from you?" And Elisha said, "Yes, I know. Keep silent." Now at verse 6. Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here, for the Lord has sent me to the Jordan." But Elisha said, "As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you." So the two of them went on. 50 men of the company of prophets also went and stood at some distance from them, as they both were standing by the Jordan River. Then Elijah took his mantle off his shoulders, rolled it up, and struck the water. The water was parted to the one side and to the other, until the two of them crossed over on dry land. When they had crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, "Tell me what I may do for you before I am taken from you." Elisha said, "Please, let me inherit a double share of your spirit." And Elijah responded, "You have asked a hard thing. Yet if you see me as I am being taken away from you, it will be granted you. If not, it will not." As they continued walking and talking, a chariot of fire and horses of fire separated the two of them, and Elijah ascended in a whirlwind into heaven. Elisha kept watching and crying out, "Father, Father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen." But when he could no longer see him, he grasped his own clothes and tore them in 2 pieces. Elisha picked up the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him and went back and stood on the bank of the Jordan. He took the mantle of Elijah that had fallen from him, struck the water, saying, "Where is the Lord, the God of Elijah?" When he had struck the water was parted again to the one side and to the other, and Elisha went over. Fantastic story. Fantastic story. We can't begin to talk about everything in that story. But it does remind us of a couple of times when God parted the waters so men could walk across on dry land. Can you remember some of those times when that happened? Who? Moses. Yeah, Moses parted the waters. I think it was God's power that did it. But Moses spanned his hands and the Red Sea opened and the Israelites walked across. Who was another guy who parted the waters? Jesus parted the waters? Joshua did. That's right. When the Israelites were coming to conquer the promised land, they were coming in by Jericho and had to cross the Jordan River. Joshua parted the waters. You see, Joshua was Moses' assistant and second in command, as it were, just as Elisha was Elijah's assistant and second in line, I guess, in the line of prophets. At any rate, when they cross the river, the chariot of fire and the horses of fire pick up Elijah and carry him off to heaven. Now, I don't think Elijah's dead. In fact, we see Elijah and Moses again talking to Jesus in Luke 9 at the Transfiguration. And Jesus and his disciples see Moses and Elijah there 900 years after Moses died. 900 years. 900 years after Elijah's situation here. So, this is to say that Moses and Elijah are very important people to the history of the Israelites, very important for our theology in the Bible and God's people. So let's look at this fiery chariot and horses of fire. What do you think about that? You think that was real? I don't know. You think it was a biblical myth? Maybe a metaphor of some kind for something else? You know? Maybe it was an apocalyptic image, which has a message for us today, as all apocalyptic images have. What's the message today? Well, here in the 21st century, such events in the Bible just don't seem to square with science and logic the way we see things. But I assure you, my friends, this story of the chariots and horses is much more than biblical myth. And it's better than a metaphor. It was a sign then, and it's a sign for us today. We're going to talk about what that sign means. When Elisha asked for a double portion of Elijah's spirit, Elijah told him it would be granted if you see me being taken away. Did Elisha see him? Yes, he saw him. He even called out, "Father, Father, the chariot of fire and the horses of fire." Yeah, he called out. He wanted everybody to know that he was seeing it, so that he'd get that double portion of spirit from Elijah. He was giving testimony and witness. Yeah, I see it. There it goes. Now, if you and I had been there, do you think we would have seen that? What would we have seen? Would we have seen the chariot of fire and the horses of fire? Or would we have simply seen Elijah disappear? Or would we have seen Elijah, I don't know, run away and hide or something for 900 years before he comes back? What would we have seen? This is a crucial question for the message, for the sign of the horses.